What if Europe stopped buying production materials from China? Imagine Europe suddenly deciding to stop importing materials from China. Components, intermediate goods, and essential supplies that feed thousands of factories across the continent. At first glance, many would cheer. Finally, we'll be independent. No more dependence on Asia. And yet, the reality of supply chains is rarely that simple. Chinese production materials are embedded in nearly every European industry, from automotive and electronics to textiles and pharmaceuticals. They are not just inexpensive, they are standardized, available at scale, and integrated into global logistics networks. Shutting them out overnight would force manufacturers to scramble for alternatives, reshoring production, turning to smaller regional suppliers, or investing heavily in new local capacity. These alternatives exist, but scaling them up takes time, resources, and careful planning. In the meantime, shortages could appear, costs would rise, and production lines could slow, delaying everything from consumer products to industrial machinery. The potential upside is clear. A shift toward European or nearby regional suppliers could shorten supply chains, improve traceability, and reduce reliance on long-haul shipping lanes. Companies could gain more control over quality, logistics, and risk, while also potentially reducing carbon emissions associated with transportation. For strategic industries, a more localized supply chain could be a long-term resilience play. Yet here's the real twist. While the idea of European self-sufficiency sounds appealing, the scale and complexity of Chinese supply chains are hard to replace. Many materials are produced in volumes that Europe cannot match immediately. Rare chemicals, specialized electronic components, and even certain metals and alloys are sourced almost exclusively from China today. Attempting to replace them would require years of investment, infrastructure expansion, and supplier development, and even then, the cost per unit would likely rise, squeezing margins and creating pricing pressures for end consumers. Moreover, global trade is interconnected. Europe's move away from Chinese materials would ripple across other markets, potentially straining relationships with Asian suppliers who operate as part of larger integrated networks. Supply chain resilience, then, is not simply about saying we can do without China. It's about balancing diversification, risk, and operational reality. In short, the idea that Europe could seamlessly decouple from Chinese materials is more myth than fact. Success would require strategic foresight, capital investment, and careful management of both logistics and geopolitical implications. While independence is possible, it is neither simple nor cheap, and the transition period would test the agility and resilience of even the most advanced European supply chains. Because in complex supply networks, foresight and adaptability decide who thrives and who struggles. And that's exactly the clarity Kaleidoscope International helps organizations achieve.